Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is the Sun in its reversal. What's going on here, my friends? I know it's the retrograde. We are in the midst of I have to say, this Mercury retrograde, what's difficult about this Mercury retrograde is it's hitting us in the feelings. It really is. It's hitting us in the feelings. There's a lot of this work that we're doing right now in relationality to navigating spaces and places. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm saying this throughout this retrograde cycle. Now is not the time to be protective of one's own pride, because the more that you're in that modality of protecting one's pride right now, the more that this is going to feel like going through like a little bit of like the tumble section of the washing machine. This is a lot of this energetic unpacking to a certain degree, a lot of that ability of recognizing and identifying, doing that work. It sometimes requires you to go it requires you to kind of like get into like one's own feelings. But what happens when one allows oneself to come deep into one's own feelings? It allows for that modality of productivity. It allows for like a lot of that work of breakthrough. This is having different impacts on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For masculine energy, that ability of navigating forward, coming into that point of redefining strength. This is a lot of the masculine energy that may be feeling like the full breadth of one's own emotions. So we see even now that for a lot of the energy doing that work, this is like feeling like this is a little bit more of the masculine, feeling like they're a little bit on a bit of like an emotional roller coaster to a certain extent, right? Because that's a lot of that masculine energy that's doing that work in navigating in that space or in that way that is allowing the ability to identify what feels energetically low versus one's own ability to like come back into a place of like balance. For feminine, a lot of this has more to do with feminine's own frustrations in the practical space, because we see that for a lot of the feminine energy right now, this work within the retrograde has just been kind of like tackling things in such a way of navigating through even beyond one's own emotional feelings. So we see even now a lot of that energy navigating in that space. The catharsis point comes in emotionally supporting one another through that journey. So we see even now that for a lot of the energy deep within the divine union, being able to effectively be there, being the expression point, being the articulation point of each other's doubts, fears, anxieties. This is the energy that it's more easy once you're within divine union to articulate through it, because you're not reacting to it so much. It allows a little bit of that like easement point. Now, for a lot of the energy coming into divine union right now, this is a lot of that work. And I want to say this, if these are experiences and circumstances or scenarios where either you're recognizing that there's something that you may have brought into the divine union that you no longer feel like you necessarily need, or these are modalities or circumstances that you are recognizing and identifying, those changes that you're making within one's own self as you continue forward. If you're feeling spaces of regret right now for anything in the past, I want you to recognize that that experience is what has brought you to where you are today. If you have that modality of seeing something in the past that you would do differently today, let that serve as support, energetic support in how far you have come. Because we see even now that ability of recognizing and identifying that, a lot of that work that's happening here, that ability to facilitate through that uncertainty, this is the energy right now that is building into the divine union, because this isn't the energy that reacts to those energetic lows. They articulate through them. While for the energy right now that is in separation, this is where some of this frustration may be reaching a point of amplification, because you'll remember that we saw that for a lot of that energy and separation at this time, these experiences, these modalities We saw that there was this juxtaposition that was occurring between masculine and feminine, and masculine articulating to feminine how one energetically feels. Feminine looking towards masculine and having that conversation of maintaining their own energetic standards that is requiring that sense or that space of introspection in relationality to what the feelings mean going forward. So either, again, the energy that's getting clarity, the emotions that are matched and merged with the path work going forward, the commitment, committing oneself to the path work in relationality to the changes that one is feeling based upon what one desires going forward. We see a lot of that energy right now that's moving deeper into divine union, potentially unpacking a lot of the doubts and fears along the way, because a lot of that work is learning how to trust. And for masculine and feminine, we saw that we're coming into divine union right now. That ability of masculine saying, I know right now that what I'm telling you is just words, but I'm committing myself to showing you that there's actions behind those words. Feminine experiencing and receiving that. A lot of that energy may be letting go of the grief, of the anxieties and fears of the past that have created that space in them, not being able to feel the amplification of excitement at the moment that someone offers a promise or a gift. But almost a lot of that worry and fear coming through based upon past experiences wherein that was given, but it was not necessarily energetically fulfilled. A lot of trusting the process right now for a lot of the energy coming into divine union. While for some of this energy right now in separation, this work that we're effectively seeing may be coming into the completion of some energetic cycles. Because again, if these are modalities wherein masculine may just be articulating the emotions but not giving clarity as to what to do with them, feminine articulating to masculine, that the articulation of emotions, while it is potentially desired and may even appreciative of the breakthrough that masculine may be having in the modality of being able to express it, that the expression of the emotions is only one half of the energetic equation. Commitment isn't just the expression of emotionality. It's articulating what the pathwork is going forward. So we see even now, if these are the energies that aren't necessarily receiving them, they may be feeling like they've reached an energetic impasse, because this could be the masculine saying, I'm having a breakthrough about how I feel. But if the masculine is coming through as too afraid to be able to articulate what that means going forward, the feminine is receiving that from a point of confusion and saying, you're not giving me clarity. Your expression of emotionality is just creating confusion. It's just creating an additional energetic burden. So we see even now that this is like that impasse point that requires clarity. If not, this could be a lot of energy moving into separation or maintaining separation, potentially even with some feelings of anger and frustration in relationality to receiving something and not getting clarity about going forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. The second card in our 5-card spread for today is, this is the amplification of a lot of the energy in separation, saying the emotions are vital, right? And this could be a lot of energy in conflict right now. Because if this is one person going to another and saying, this is how I feel about you, and this is another energy that's looking towards someone and saying, how you feel about me isn't necessarily relevant. What do you intend? What is the pathwork going forward in terms of what that looks like? What's the shape of it? What is the productivity point on it? We see even now these are energies that are trying to build into they're trying to build into a commitment. But the expression of this is one half of the energetic equation in terms of what is needed in order to facilitate healthy partnership. The expression of emotions, articulating how one feels, isn't enough. Because if you're just experiencing, and this could be a lot of the energy saying this, if you're just articulating how you feel, but there's no productive path forward on it, that can almost feel like you're giving someone an anchor. You know what I mean? You're just giving someone an anchor, being like, what do I do with this? So we see even now, a lot of that energy is still either receiving that clarity or potentially articulating to someone and saying, what you're giving me isn't productive. There's no way of going forward with it. It's heavy, it's frustrating. And I can see even now there could be a lot of energy that is communicating that energetic frustration in separation. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is the energy that's having those breakthroughs. This is the energy that's having those breakthroughs. And it's like, this is the work that is so heavy, because this could be a lot of energy that feels the anxiety point in the expression of those plans. Because this is that trust process that's starting to take shape. This is that trust process that is allowing that modality of feeling the reassurance of what is being articulated, what those plans are. And this is the energy that we're seeing here that isn't, it's like, I can see even now, this isn't the energy that's like getting ahead of themselves on that, because even here we see that consistency is key. But this is the energy that's feeling the stirring of that coming into motion, because this is, again, this is either masculine saying to feminine, I know that there's a part of you that is doubtful. I'm committed to proving you that these are not just words, these are actions. And this could be a lot of the feminine energy that is, again, still holding their heart space at a little bit of an energetic distance as they start to build into that trust process with masculine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. While for masculine and feminine deep within the divine union frequency right now, this could be a lot of the, there's a lot of planning that's happening here. There's a lot of productivity today. This is a lot of busy work. This is a lot of communication upon doubts, fears, anxieties, but all to productive ends, because I told you the gift that a lot of the energy is having within the divine union is the ability to articulate through anxieties and doubts and fears instead of reacting to them. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, we've got here Ace of Wands, and it's upright. So this is, I gotta say, this is actually, and again, we're close. Listen, we're almost done this retrograde. I think it ends on the 27th. We've got about a few more days left. But this is productive. These are plans. These are communication. This is inspiration. So look, this is the beauty. These are beautiful cards to see in combination right now. For energy deep within the divine union frequency, this is why the articulation of the energetic problems is productive territory, because these aren't the energies that react to those energetic feelings. These are the energies that work through them to find new solutions. So these are the energetic problems that reach solutions via the realms of communication. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. These are the plans. These are the energetic plans that are being brought forth right now. And even here, some of the anxiety that we're potentially seeing that is occurring for so much of that energy coming into divine union. This is an energy that is getting like ahead of themselves to a certain extent. But this is like that balancing point between anxiety and hope. Because we see even now that so much of that energy is recognizing and identifying the ability of seeing something that could potentially move into a point of productivity, because these aren't just energies that are amplifying or articulating how they feel. These are the energies that are seeing. They're literally seeing the plans that actually indicate energetic commitment to a certain extent that is allowing that feeling of breakthrough arising into the divine union frequency. And these are the mutual plans that are being made that are, and that expression of, again, this is the trust process, and someone saying to someone else, I know you might not, I know that maybe experiences in the past have created that space of doubting, but this is the energy that's like almost moving immediately to articulate to someone and say, I'm showing you that this isn't just words, these are actions. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, in separation, if these are experiences or modalities where someone is just articulating how they feel, but they're not giving any clarity as to what that means going forward, a lot of the energy in separation might be saying to someone like, well, like, if there's nothing productive that can be done there to allow for that to be something about articulating what those plans are, this is the energy that may be saying, and recognizing and saying to someone, there is, if you can't build a connection just speaking towards what you feel, it needs the love comes in the security of consistency and relationality to what that pathwork looks like as you move forward together. So we see even now there could be a lot of energy that is defining and saying to someone, what you feel is longing. What you feel is passion. What you feel is articulating something about what you want in the present, versus what you're feeling is consistency. What you feel is commitment. Your ability to articulate what that is going forward, that is the expression of love. Because this is the energy that is basically like defining right now. They're just looking at the circumstances to articulate and say, does this person have passion? Or does this person have commitment? And so for some of the energy right now, that ability of not seeing these mutual, which is what a commitment is. Like, commitment is the combination of passion with commitment, committing oneself to mutual pathwork going forward. This is the energy that's just saying, you might have one of these, but if you don't have the other, they're not the same thing. That's passion. That's somebody saying to someone, you have passion for me, but that's not love, because love is the expression of saying that you are committing to me. So we see even now that could be a lot of that energy working forward in that way. And again, all of it being amplified in the ability to articulate the consistency as to whether there's pathwork there. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our star energy. So we like to see this because you'll recall yesterday, feminine energy was all over the place. There was a lot of it. And we even saw that there was potentially a lot of feminine energy that was speaking towards other feminine energy around circumstances or situations. There was a lot of emotional unpacking that was potentially occurring in some modalities right now. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, this is a lot of the feminine energy in separation that is articulating upon what it is that they desire, but from a place of openness, from a place of clarity. We just see this here. This is a lot of the feminine energy having that modality of saying, and we even saw yesterday, there was a lot of the energy that we were seeing that was basically saying, I'm doing this, I'm showing my care or empathy towards you by articulating upon something to try to identify and recognize if you see it. Because this is the feminine energy that was giving energy the benefit of the doubt prior to expressing something to see if they could get that point of clarity. So for a lot of the feminine energy, there's security that's potentially happening right now with feminine energy in recognizing and defining what feels like the difference between someone having passion for you versus someone wanting to build with you. So we see even now that point of recognition is what's building upon right now for clarity of feminine. And for some of that feminine right now, I want to say the breakthrough point is feeling or recognizing and identifying in such a way that you feel very secure in terms of what you're seeing. This is the energy that's feeling like this is feminine going, oh, I feel like I got full clarity on a situation right now. And some of that energy is positive and some of that energy is negative, right? Because this is a lot of the feminine energy that's feeling that sense or going into that modality of articulating or saying what it is that they truly aspire and desire for. While for masculine energy right now in separation, what we're effectively seeing that's happening right now is this is a lot of the masculine energy. Masculine, you may be required, this is giving that point of clarity. You may be having a lot of conversations right now with feminine, not only about what it is that you aspire and desire with the feminine, but what that looks like in the long term. So we see even now that there could be that modality of productivity that's happening here. And a little bit of this, this balancing point that we're seeing at this time is, and I like this because this is saying to me that even in separation right now, there are productive, honest conversations happening in relationality to what energy desires and what energy expects going forward. And some of those conversations, I want to say, they seem like there may be some disappointment attached to it, but it feels like they are healing and restorative conversations, specifically because they feel like they're coming from a place or space of authenticity. And this is the path work that's allowing energy to either recognize and identify the limitations as to why an energetic connection cannot continue forward, particularly if these are energies that desire different things in the long term, or this is energy that is potentially moving into divine union right now via the recognition point of being able to come into pathwork of potential modification, making those adjustments, seeing and identifying what those adjustments are, necessitating upon some of those energetic changes that are potentially allowing for so much of this energy, this work in terms of having what seems like, security or building into a pathwork of trusting on the way, because we see even now that so much of this energy here coming into divine union, it's like it's hard work, but it's good work. It's productive. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within the divine union, this is just productivity today. I gotta say, this is a lot of difficulties, and this is why I was saying even now, not taking things energetically personally. Like, this is starting to feel like a bit of that cloud break that we wanted to see with some of this energy that we've been experiencing during this retrograde period. Because that ability, and again, I kept saying this, so long as you did not take things personally during this retrograde, you allowed it to build into that point of productivity, today may be a good day that you're seeing a lot of those breakthroughs. Today could be a lot of those modalities, because I see even now, that recognition point, things are starting to move a little bit easier. So we see even now, that's that easement. I see even now, this could be the energy of I feel like energy's I get here no apologies necessary kind of energy coming through right now for some of the energy within the divine union frequency, because we see even now that's the energy that's almost the conversation that's happening is people saying I'm sorry, there's been a lot going on, and then again being in that point being yeah, it's a retrograde, I know, you know what I mean, that's why I was saying it's so important right now not to take things personally. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today, I believe the retrograde's over on the 27th, don't quote me on that, is Ace of Pentacles. So this is a very productive day. We're just seeing it, a lot of opportunity, a lot of possibility. This is a get stuff done today. This is a get stuff done today. Work. Get to it today. Because if you've been feeling any of that crunch right now during the retrograde, these cards are beautiful in plans, productivity. It's not that there aren't issues here, but it feels to me these are the problems with easy solutions. Continuing for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is beautiful energy, because if these are modalities that is recognized, I gotta say, for a lot of the energy right now, healthy communication, desire. I told you, this is the merging of energy that's not just feeling the ability to express what someone feels, but seeing and feeling the sense of what one is changing or modifying or adjusting to allow that to be a breakthrough point. I just see that there's a lot of energy coming into divine union right now, having those energetic breakthroughs. And I see that a lot of this work that we're identifying here, it feels... I gotta say this, for feminine that's seeing this, feminine that's experiencing or building forth with the masculine that is able to say to the feminine, this is how I feel and this is what I want going forward. That's the feminine energy feeling like they're receiving what could be articulated as a true energetic offer from masculine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. And for a lot of the masculine, that ability of articulating to feminine, going through that journey of the self, having the bravery to be able not only to say what it is that you feel, but what you dream about with the feminine, This could be a masculine that, again, what did I tell you is a lot of the journey of the masculine right now? Redefining what strength is via the ability to be vulnerable towards feminine. So we see even now some beautiful energy that's potentially occurring here. Well, for masculine and feminine energy right now, in separation, I feel like there's a lot of open conversations that are happening here. And the breakthroughs that may be occurring here, like even in these modalities of feminine having conversation with masculine and masculine having conversation with feminine in relationality to what one's aspirations and goals are going forward. This is a lot of the energy maybe saying to one another, we want different things. Like if energy's staying in separation on this right now, there could be that acknowledgement point of terms of saying to someone, look, I recognize that two things can be true, that we can have strong feelings for one another, but wanting different things. And in that modality of experiencing that, that's a healthy separation point, right? That creates, that is beautifully karmically clearing, because this is the energy that is identifying like the source of an energetic difficulty point. They're seeing it there, they're perceiving it. They're not trying to pull each other onto their path work. They're almost coming into that space of like acknowledgement and then saying like, okay, we'll just have to accept the situations as they are. So we see even now the gift that may be occurring in those modalities with the combination of the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. Like the energy that's healing in that modality of separation is receiving from one another that openness and that clarity of expression, because that is the energy that is effectively recognizing and identifying that in that experience, the gift that they're receiving is what's allowing them to move forward without confusion. Continuing to clarification between our Sun card in its reversal in combination with our Eight of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with, love to see this card in its position. We've got here our Nine of Wands in its reversal. So we've got even now, like, and I have to stress this right now, for a lot of this energy, like the gift that's occurring is easement. Like this is the energy. I feel like there's some energy like, was that so hard? Like this is some of the energy in separation, almost looking at something and being like, was that so hard? You know, like, because a lot of that energy, I need to stress this here. Like a lot of this energy is either receiving that clarity in relationality to what someone aspires and desires in partnership going forward, or they're not. And so for the like, and that like it, and this is the energy that isn't sticking around to try to suss out why it isn't there, right? This is the energy that's, again, observing if it isn't. This is the energy that's looking at something and saying it's either present or it's absent. And if someone is articulating upon that, like that is motivating the energetic decision going forward. So again, I see either here that there's energy in separation that's having, if this is energy that's remaining in separation, there's healthy closure points that are happening potentially, and energy that says, well, this is what I aspire and desire going forward. And someone else being, well, unfortunately, this is what I aspire and desire going forward. And then the energy is kind of looking at each other and being like, I wish you the best of, like, I have a lot of feelings towards you. I wish you the best in terms of what it is that you want. I'm not going to try to pull you on my path work. Like, that's that moment that you can hold space for the fact that you recognize that someone feels something for you, but you understand, and these are energies that are able to heal or close those karmic cycles by saying, we want different things. Like that's the energy that goes, well, I use a lot of this energy and separation going, have a lot of feelings for someone. We want different things. That there's plenty of room for that. That's called a heart opening exercise, right? Like that recognition point. Whereas we see even now, there may be some energy that if they're articulating or asking for clarity on something and someone isn't able to provide it, this is a lot of the energy that's just moving into separation, going, your lack of clarity in terms of what you want to do going forward is the clarity. If someone cannot articulate to you what they want going forward, that is the clarity that they don't know what they want going forward. Like, that's the clarity, right? That's the clarity. The clarity is that it is unclear. So we see even now that that's like the energy that's like, I've gotten my clarity. They are unclear. The unclearness is the clarity, right? Like, that's the clarity. You just step back. This the energy goes, I just need to step back. Oh yes, there's the clarity. And so this is a lot of that energy that is moving forward in that way, feeling like they've received that clarity, even in the modality that it was that something is articulated with someone saying, I can't tell you what I want. And the energy being like, yes, you did. You just did. If this is energy that asks someone what they want and they go, I don't know what I want. This is the energy going, thank you. Thank you. You just answered the question. You just answered the question. So this is, and for a lot of this energy, a lot of individuals right now coming into divine union, these are all breakthrough points. These are a lot of these are energies right now that are talking towards plans. And this is beautiful because this is, look at this. This is all the combination energy. This is what we want. The passion with the tangibility of the plans going forward. So we see even now, this is energy that's still holding to the point of recognizing and identifying the difference between what is spoken versus what occurs. Like, this is energy that's like recognizing. The only thing I'm seeing here is there is some energy that's still like weighing the difference between words versus actions. But we see a lot of actions that are occurring right now. So this is positive. Continuing. And for the energy right now deep within the divine union, this is just getting stuff done. This is like greasing the wheels to a certain extent. This is like navigating small hurdles, getting things off the to-do list, which is why I stressed right now, so long as you weren't taking things personally, right now, a lot of beautiful breakthrough energy that we're potentially seeing right now, because this is a lot of that productivity that we are identifying and recognizing. And a lot of this is coming into that modality of someone like, I almost see a lot of energy being like, I appreciate your patience. Thank you for that. Like, thank you for being patient. Like here, like, as I told you, a little bit of this like work that we've been navigating right now has almost felt like, I want to say, like, we go through these retrograde periods, but I feel like the problem with so much of this retrograde period we've been experiencing in Leo is it feels like you're just like on hold music. like you just kind of had to navigate that, and now we're finally seeing that some of this is like picking back up. Continuing to get clarification right now between our Ace of Wands and our Eight of Wands. Love to see these two cards together. Absolutely love it. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with Five of Pentacles. So this is, what is this? This is like and again, a little bit of this energy that we're seeing right now has had to be, this has been like navigating the abandonment wound. Like, that's what a lot of this work during this retrograde's been. It's navigating the abandonment wound, because like, that's like, like what happens when you're on hold, what happens when you're on hold for a long time? You're like, have you forgotten about me? Or is anybody there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of that type of energy. And that's why I was saying it was so important to make sure that you're not taking something personally right now. Because like, it's like that's some of that energy here that is helping navigate the abandonment wound in terms of something happening towards you versus something happening around you. So again, having to navigate that in a way and recognizing, like, imagine everybody's been going through that. When you feel like everybody's going through that, you're able to bring it, you're able to have a lot more compassion for it. So we see even now, like, a little bit of that work. I can see even now, and for the energy deep within the divine union frequency, I can almost see a lot of the energy right now having those breakthrough points, and only now being able to articulate some of those doubts and fears that they were having in the interim. Like that's a little bit of that energy that we're seeing here. Continuing to get clarification between our Eight of Wands, and for a lot of the energy coming into divine union right now, I'm feeling like some of the anxiety that's stirring up in this modality is that wait and see. There's a lot of patience that I see, something about these plans right now, or the articulating on those plans. This is that energy that I want to say recognizes that words don't mean anything without action, right? So we see even now, if this is why something about this feels like it's so healing. Because if this is a modality where feminine is building trust towards masculine, this is a lot of the masculine in that point of healing saying, I'm not taking it personally if you don't trust me here, because I recognize that you're probably coming from a long experience where this is, and this is why masculine not taking feminine's experiences personally, saying, I recognize that if you come to meet me in the modality of an experience that has informed you up until this time, that there's something that is requiring that state of you having to energetically trust something without giving validation to it. This is a lot of the masculine that's coming into that space or place of trying to rectify through that, right? Because if this is the masculine coming to a point of authenticity, this is a lot of that masculine energy saying, I'm not just letting those words, these aren't just words. I'm going to show you that these are not just words. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, this is either a modality of articulating and recognizing that you want different things. And this is the energy that almost says, I don't want to create a space or place that it feels like you have to abandon your desired outcome for the sake of being in companionship, right? Like this is the energy that recognizes the difference between energy that like when we have the same manifestation goals, then it feels like we're running that race together, right? If we don't have the same manifestation goals, it can often feel like we're dragging someone along, right? Right? So we see even now that so much of that energy may be navigating those spaces and saying, I want to make sure that we want the same things, so it doesn't feel like, I'm dragging you in a direction that you don't want to energetically go towards. So we see even now a lot of that energy recognizing that. This could be that act of compassion that you say that is articulating around the love that you feel for someone. But almost saying again, identifying and saying that sometimes we can have all the love in the world for someone, right? We can have all the love in the world for someone. But if we want different things and we don't take that personally, then that is that expression and that expansion point of love that allows us that sense or space of saying, I want to make sure that you're moving in the direction that you desire. I want to make sure that you're navigating that. So we see even now that for so much of that energy, that ability of recognizing that ability of holding like firm on that, like that is that moment here, that this is the energy that's almost saying like that care, they're giving the clarity. And even recognizing in that moment that could create separation, but recognizing even in that separation, that is the energy that says better to articulate and make sure that we're on the same page, as opposed to having that sense of bringing someone in a direction that they don't entirely desire to go towards. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, I do see some modalities here where there could be those conversations that are being had, and there isn't that clarity that's being provided. And this is a lot of energy that may be coming into separation with the acknowledged point of saying, if you don't know what you want, then that is what you want, right? Like this is the energy that may be saying, when you say you don't know what you want, that is what you want. You don't know. That is your choice. Like this is the energy that says like that is the clarification. Because that is either the energy that looks towards something. And the only problem with some of the energy that's receiving that is the energy saying, I can't tell if that's someone who honestly, energetically does not know what they want, or they're too afraid to tell me what they want, right? Like that's the only problem that we see with some of that abandonment wound. If someone's asking someone in separation what they want and someone's going, because that's the only thing that we see here that may create a little bit of that frustration vibration, is someone potentially moving away from a scenario and saying, I can't tell if they honestly are in that modality where they don't know what they want or they're too afraid to articulate it. Continuing to get clarification between our Eight of Wands in combination with our star energy. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with the World and its reversal. So this is how a lot of the energy right now in separation is navigating any spaces or places wherein, again, there's either two different modalities that I see as occurring right now in separation. These are either modalities where there's been a recognition point of feelings that are expressed, but desiring different things, and being able to just accept that. Because this is the energy that almost looks towards one another and says, and with compassion, better to leave it here than to move forward, because to move forward and desire different things will just create chaos. Will require one of us to feel like we are creating chaos in the life of the other. Or this is energy that is experiencing a modality right now in separation where they're articulating and saying to someone, what do you want going forward? And if someone's saying, I don't know, the energy is saying, that is too chaotic. This is energy, this is more of the feminine holding their heart space and saying, if you don't know what you want, then what you're asking is, you're asking me to give you my heart, and I don't know where you're going to take it. I don't know where you're going with it. You don't know where you're going with it, right? Like, you don't know. You just clarified. You have no idea what you want. You want it, but you don't know what you're doing with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the energy of the feminine going, I can't give that to you. What are you, crazy? Like, that's a lot of the feminine being like, this is literally some feminine energy looking towards masculine, being like walking someone through it. Do you know how crazy it is if you're asking for my heart, and then I say, where do you want to go with it? And you go, I just want it. It's shiny. It looks good. It'll be, like, this is the energy of the feminine being like, that's no, like almost like a child. Like, do you understand? Like, literally, I can see someone going, do you understand what I am saying to you? Like, and so this is a lot of the feminine energy that may be having to articulate. And for masculine here, and this is some of the masculine separation right now, this could be a lot of the masculine, like this could be some unpacking of abandonment wounds here. Because if this could be some masculine energy that's recognizing and identifying, like, if this is, and this is either the masculine that's either, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, what it feels most aligned to, that feels too difficult to be able to put the power of like articulating what they dream into words, and it's creating a personal blockage point. Or this is energy of masculine that, and this could be a limitation point, I gotta say this, if there's masculine energy or this navigating, that's something that you want to articulate to feminine feels like it would be too, like, doesn't feel like something that the feminine would jive with, like, this is masculine that's also recognizing and being like, this is the blockage. So we see even now, this is either masculine that's having that breakthrough point and thinking about what that is in the future that they desire, or this is masculine energy that is like, recognizing and identifying that when we move towards manifestation goals, they have to be mutually desired. Continuing to get clarification. And for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, what we're effectively seeing right now is for a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now. There is that recognition point that we're seeing, that maybe that articulation of seeing something in some way, shape, or form, that there's anxiety here. I can see it. There's a lot of these abandonment wounds being like recognizing or identifying, saying, I hope that this is real. I hope that this is true. I hope and identify this. But this is the energy that's building forward in that sense, or that space of effectively saying to one another, I feel those anxieties too. I feel those anxieties too, right? Because these are those modalities that are recognizing and identifying that when we move forward and we share a mutual dream with one another, it's terrifying. right? It's terrifying to be able to express that, because that's that modality that, like, you know, you work towards it. But we see even now that for a lot of that energy doing so, this is the energy that feels the validation point in recognizing that those plans, they create the shape, they create the balance in what one feels like is outside of the purview of one's own, you know, like between, beyond what you can control. That's what commitment means. Commitment is the promise of what you're effectively trying to lead forth in a world or in a space of the unknown, right? That's what we talk about when we talk towards manifestation. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep within the divine union, this is just bringing a lot of compassion to bear. And this is why it's so important. This is why so much of the energy within the divine union isn't moving in that modality of taking things personally. Because it's that moment that it's like, if things are hard for you, they're probably hard for everybody else, right? And when you're navigating something and you're experiencing that hardness point, if you don't take it personally, then you can bring a lot of compassion to it. Because you're recognizing and saying, if this is like, again, if you're feeling like you're on the hold music, you're like, I bet they feel like they're on the hold music too. Like, maybe that's the reason, you know? Like, so we see even now, like, that could be a lot of that work in terms of recognizing and articulating and understanding what some of those energetic holdups have been. Continuing to get clarification between our star energy in combination with our Ace of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. For masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep within divine union. You know, a lot of this work that we're seeing right now has to do with recognizing and like, look at this. Like, we've got here, like, we've got Ace of Pentacles with the Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. So we see even now, like, a lot of this is just like, this is like navigating the energetic ups and downs, right? Like, one's own ability to navigate an energetic up and down to a certain extent is what happens. Like, what is the gift that the retrograde provides? Recognizing and building forth inconsistency, even when things are energetically difficult. Because what do we call that? We call that purpose, right? Purpose is not something that we do just because it is easy. Purpose is something that we do because we are consistent. So we see even now that for a lot of the energy moving in that modality, building into that, a lot of this work that this retrograde has been helping with, and that's why I've been saying, like, it's really important not to feel like you're protecting one's own ego at this time, is building into that pathwork of energetic purpose. Because purpose is not something you do just because it's easy. Purpose is something that you do because it is purpose. So we see even now that a lot of the energy navigating that space, like, it's coming into that modality of, if someone is coming towards you and like apologize, but of like coming towards you in a point of apology, it's almost the energy that's like, it's cool. Like, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, right? Because this isn't the energy that's looking outside of the self to be able to find that. That's the energy that finds it from within. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is coming into divine union, this is the energy that's potentially seeing that path work forward and is now having to navigate the doubt in relationality to what is being brought forth versus the anxiety of what is, like, do you see this little, like, what's going on here? And I'll say it even now, like, I want to say, I can always see some energy, like, holding their breath to a certain extent, going, like, you know, particularly and especially because this is potentially feminine and masculine coming into divine union. And if masculine is creating that mutuality of pathwork here of expression of the emotionality and articulating what those changes are going forward in terms of building with feminine. This is feminine that's like the words aren't enough. Words are nothing without action. So even here we see, and I need to stress this, this is not feminine. I need to stress this. This is not feminine, like saying that to masculine. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is feminine that is like working through their own, navigating their own space of trust based upon what the masculine is bringing forth versus their anxieties and fears about what is coming towards them, right? Masculine the same here, because this is masculine that may be coming towards feminine and recognizing and identifying and saying, I see that anxiety. I know that you may feel a little bit of that doubt, but I am committed to showing you that what I'm articulating isn't just words, that it is something that is tangible. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, I just see that a lot of this, I get one of two different modalities that are happening right now. This is either the energy, if they're staying in separation, that is articulating upon what it is that they aspire and desire going forward, recognizing that they may want different things. And in that modality of expressing it, immediately come into a healthy karmic closure, because the ability of being able to express something and recognizing and saying, I don't want to drag you off of your own path work. I recognize the difference between moving with joy into something versus someone feeling like they're dragging their feet every step of the way. This is the energy that's like, I can hold space for how I feel and recognize that the healthy closure point is saying, I care about someone, but we want different things. Versus some energy right now that if the energy is coming forward in such a way of someone articulating, saying, what do you want? And someone saying, I don't know. This is the energy saying, that's what you want. Like there's a lot of energy that's saying that is what you want. Like you want the ability to keep one's own possibilities open. Or there's too much. And the only difficulty here for feminine, if that's occurring, is feminine is in that modality of not being sure if that's masculine that's saying that out of fear. An inability to articulate what it is that they aspire and desire. Or if this is from general confusion of masculine that's not sure about what their own pathwork is. That their pathwork is committing to no path. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. And for masculine right now, I have to stress, if something about that in separation is occurring in that way, like this might require, I feel like this could be a moment that you're having conversations with feminine that may be requiring a little bit of energetic soul searching, right? Because there could be a lot of this articulation point of feminine saying, like, if you're articulating your desire towards me, this is feminine saying you're asking for my heart. But if you don't know what you want to do with it, like what you're basically saying is you're just saying you want to play with my heart. Like this is feminine going, I'm not in that modality of doing that. Like this is the feminine being like, this is literally feminine walking masculine through the logic of that to a certain extent and saying, do you understand like why that would not be wise, right? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 9 of Wands in its reversal in combination with our 5 of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our 6 of Cups in its reversal. I like to see this here because there's a lot of expression that's occurring right now for the energy and separation. Basically, I need to say this, and this is a little bit of the breakthrough work that's happening for energy right now in separation. Not just moving in the modality of following the emotionality, but navigating and recognizing the qualities and characteristics of the nature of the energetic connection. Not just allowing one's heart to guide you towards something, but really introspecting and investigating the nature of the energetic connection by means of recognizing whether it feels like something that can improve, something that is integral, versus something that would move you further from your intentionality. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy and separation, again, one of 2 different modalities that are occurring, energies that are working towards healing by being very clear in relationality to what it is that they aspire and desire in the long term, to recognize whether there would be that modality of feeling that easement and moving together towards those manifestation goals. But what's beautiful about this is if these are modalities where they're feeling the expression in terms of how they feel towards one another, but they're seeing the fact that they're moving in very different directions, this is the energy that's coming into, I mean, it's difficult here, but it's also a recognition point of the difficulty that is allowing for an easement by identifying and understanding the cause, right? Like in that mode, in the moment of recognizing and understanding, that becomes a heart opening instead of a heartbreak, because the confusion creates the heartbreak. The heart opening is understanding the nature of something by which it allows you to be able to carry it. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, if these are modalities where someone's asking about the manifestation goals and someone's like, this is the only problem here or hurdle that may be faced is someone looking towards a situation and circumstance and being like, I don't know if that's something because the person like honestly does not know like where their path work is going, or if they're too afraid to articulate it. And so we see even now that could be a bit of that frustration, but what's important about it is a lot of the energy is letting that kind of serve as like, they're like, that's all I need to see. That's all I need to know. That's all the clarification I need, right? Well, for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is a lot of healing of past trauma. This is a lot of healing of past trauma here. And for a lot of that energy coming into divine union right now, that ability to recognize and identify, this could either be a lot of the energy speaking towards those unhealthy connections in the past, or trying to rectify something in the present. Because this is the energy that's effectively looking at something to a certain degree and building forth in such a way of basically being mindful of, I keep getting rectification or restoration. So rectification of past experiences wherein this wasn't necessarily provided, or restoration in relationality to feeling something that is healing, but it sometimes can be triggering in the moment that we receive something that's healing because it amplifies the energetic connections in the past wherein that did not occur. So there could be a lot of breakthroughs that are happening right now in this space. And a lot of them, it's like powerful, but it's also very like devastating energetically. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, like with deep within the divine union, a lot of this work that we may be seeing at this time has to do with this space or place of, I want to say, like, it has to do with like a lot of this, I want to just identify this as like a lot of this work that we're effectively seeing at this time. It feels like a sense, or this is more to do with like that idea I was articulating about not taking something energetically personally right now. Because for so much of this energy, I told you, coming into that modality during this retrograde period of being like, why are these things happening to me? like that's not the way you got to handle this right now. You have to remember everybody's going through it together. So just having that courtesy, not assuming that things are happening like to you, but they're just happening around you. Like that creates that space of compassion right now. And so I can see even now, like there's a little bit of this energy of like I told you, rectification or restoration that's happening via the energetic connections that did not get all like twisted up in the process. Like this is a clarification of any of those energetic confusion points. Continuing to get clarification between our Five of Pentacles in its upright in combination with our World card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Cups in its reversal. So for masculine and feminine energy deep within the divine union right now, like I have to stress this. This is why we call it like pathwork of purpose. Because when you're on like pathwork of purpose, it's what is occurring around you. It doesn't like, it's like neither rain nor wind nor dark of night. Like, you know what I mean? It's that type of energy. So we see even now, like, that's why these retrograde periods are so important. And that's why we see even now that a lot of that work that we had to navigate, we're navigating during this retrograde. It's so important to, not take things personally. I keep seeing that a lot of this work that we're doing during this retrograde, it pokes at your pride. But you have to remember that if something pokes at your pride, that's your ego. And the ego is not there to be protected. The ego is there to protect. The ego can take a few hits. It's supposed to. So your ability to navigate through that in such a way, like, it helps you, because we see even now that ability of not taking things energetically personally, it's helping you recognize and identify your own energetic purpose to a certain extent, right? Because when we do something from a place of purpose, we don't do it from a place of pride, right? Continuing to move forward on this, for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, a lot of this work that we're seeing coming into divine union right now is a lot of the energy that's feeling, and I see it even now, the energetic ego that's being moved aside to be able to build forth into an energetic connection. And that's either the energy that's recognizing the changes of the self that are being necessitated or being recognized via the connection with a counterpart that you may not necessarily have been able to observe if you were just in the modality of being in separation, which can sometimes be a little bit jarring. Or these are modalities and experiences of energy that is merging their pathwork right now. That the via the power of the commitment, is the merging of the pathwork by saying again that ability of recognizing and identifying it. When we merge pathwork in that way, we basically say to the counterpart, you are my energetic priority. You are my energetic priority going forward. The ability to build with you. It's not that you have to move aside the manifestation goals, but the ability to do it in harmony. That is the energetic commitment. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is why this kind of conversation is so critical and important right now. Because what we're basically seeing that is occurring right now, for a lot of the energy that is in separation, is one of two different modalities that are effectively occurring at this time. So these are either, again, situations and circumstances wherein we see that there's a recognition point of identifying what could be what could be best, like, either the situations and circumstances where we're seeing here that the identification of having different manifestation goals immediately allows for a point of healthy energetic closure. Because this is that modality of saying to someone, I care about you. But if that care is one that we want different things, we just have to hold that care for one another, right? Better to just hold that care than move each other off of our own manifestation paths. Or we see right now that these are situations and circumstances that if someone is articulating and asking someone to say to them, if you're expressing the feelings, but the feelings don't have a place to put them. And this is someone saying, if someone's receiving feelings from someone and saying, okay, you've given me your feelings, which is half the equation, where do you want to go with them? And the energy's going, I just wanted to tell you. This is the energy that's basically saying, again, that isn't a gift that you're giving to me. That's an energetic burden, because you're saying to me you feel something, you don't know what to do with it. You're asking, and this is the energy saying, this is the energy saying, do I determine what that pathwork is? Because this is the energy almost articulating and saying that determination of pathwork is something that we don't give to someone in order to solve. We come towards them with the energetic solution or with the aspiration of what we desire. So this is, again, the energy saying that articulation must also be expressing what one is choosing going forward. Because if not, it just creates energetic confusion. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our World card in its reversal in combination with our King of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. clarification coming through right now with our Four of Pentacles in its reversal. So this is nice because I do see that for a lot of the energy in separation right now, there is an easement that's potentially occurring in separation. Because I got to stress this, if this is energy that is feeling like they're being given something complicated without clarity, there's a lot of the energy that's kind of like, thanks. Thank you for that information. Like the energy's like, thank you. But because it's not, this is the energy that's saying, again, almost expressing towards someone and saying, you know, that expansion point, it's not productive. It's just you kind of getting something off your chest, right? Like when you give someone something to someone, but you don't have a plan or a course of action, it's just getting something off of your chest. So there could be a lot of energy that may be articulating that and saying without a path of purpose, if you're just saying the emotionality of feelings, you're just getting something off of your chest. And this is the energy that may be saying like that's kind of where we'll have to energetically leave something. Well, for some of this energy right now, if this is allowing for that productivity and conversation in relationality to articulating what those manifestation goals are, you know, there's an acceptance point that may be received here. And again, this is some of that healing in terms of saying, okay, well, we feel this way about one another, but you want this and I want that. And if never the twain shall meet, well, then that's just that, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now, and in both, and like, you know, in one of those modalities, one is more frustrating, right? Because I see even here, there could be energy that's trying very hard to explain to someone why what they're bringing to them energetically doesn't feel like it's necessarily productive. It's just like that outpouring. While for another energy, like other energy I see even now, this could be a lot of healthy closure, which is almost that moment of saying like, I can hold space for how you feel while also recognizing we're going in very different directions. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, a lot of this work that we're seeing coming into divine union at this time, this is the energy that is coming into that space or place of, I want to say there's changes here. We see even now, like, because that's the beauty of it. When we merge pathwork to a certain extent, things typically get a little bit energetically chaotic because you're changing some of those priorities. But these are the energies that are doing so together, and they're doing so joyfully, right? While for masculine and feminine energy deep within the divine union right now, a lot of this work we're seeing that's being facilitated is just, I keep seeing the energy within the divine union when instead of getting personal, getting productive. Well, that's all that's been happening during this retrograde period. This is that energy that's just been like building into that pathwork of like consistent. You know, because even here, this is not the energy that takes things personally. This is the energy that's like in that pathwork of purpose. So like, this is the energy that's just moving forward in that way to a certain extent, because what else are you going to do? Like, what else are you going to do? Like, this is almost the energy saying like to others, this could even be energy giving advice to those around them. And if I want to say this, if like someone around if this is the energy that's getting advice from energy within the divine union, this could be someone being like, you should take things less personally. Like, you should take things less personally. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Cups in its reversal and our Seven of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Swords. So we see even now, you know, there's a lot, I want to say, there's a lot of energetic compassion that is occurring right now for the energy deep within the divine union, right? Because even here, there could be a lot of that amplification of articulation of the energetic hurdles. And not just the energetic hurdles that one's own self is navigating, but those that others are experiencing as well today, right? And so we see even now, like that ability of like bringing forth compassion, but again, also like amplifying or building forth to a certain extent. I keep seeing here like a lot of this work, like within the divine union frequency right now, is like, it's not just holding space for one's own difficulties, but it's holding space for those around, like those around to a certain extent, right? Like this is holding a lot of space for others in the process. Different for masculine and feminine right now. Masculine bringing forth a lot of energetic compassion. Feminine trying to navigate forward in that way that feels like energetically productive, right? Because a lot of this work right now, like that space, like I told you, even in the realms and the spaces of energetic compassion right now, this is the energy that even in that modality, like that too is being navigated, right? So even here, we see that so much of that energy is trying to maintain focus while also holding not just the frustration, but also the grief of others in the process, right? This is a lot of that. I told you, a lot of this work during this retrograde for energy deep within divine union is literally just building into a pathwork of purpose beyond what is happening externally around you. And that's hard, right? Because there's a lot, but it also is building into that sense of really refining and identifying like one's own like higher purpose. So much so as you're able to articulate and recognize that pathwork is such that there isn't much deviation towards it, right? Continuing to clarify beyond what is happening externally around you. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, this is the energy that's working through the difficulties and the hurdles of trusting the process. Because if this is the energy right now that is building forward in the articulated commitment that you're giving one another going forward, there's always that sense of anxiety and relationality as to whether that'll come into focus. But we see even now that this is starting to navigate the abandonment wounds within the self that recognize that the process of trust, it always puts us in a space or place of vulnerability. You know, that's why commitment is commitment, because it's the sense or the understanding of how vulnerable we become in the process of energetically trusting another. While for masculine and feminine energy, but that is also like, that is the burden of love. It's that trust. It's like, I like to say, it's a trust fall. You know, it's not a fall. It's a trust fall. You know, like it's that like, I'm going to catch you kind of energy. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, there could be a lot of energy that's articulating the difference between trust and like a fall and a trust fall right now. Like this could literally be a lot of energy that is articulating to someone being like, do you understand the difference between a fall and a trust fall? Right? Because here we're seeing that like, this is the, like literally I can see someone being like literally trying to explain to someone, and this is either the energy that's having a lot of productive conversations in that way, potentially in separation, realizing or recognizing the deviation between what one aspires and desires versus another. But in that moment, like there's some sadness there, but there's also healing, because that's not the energy that has to take something personally, because that's the energy that realizes that determination point is just the way things are, you know? This is the energy that recognizes that we can't change someone else's desires. We can just understand them. And once we understand them, we don't hold them personally, because we recognize that manifestation goal, like that is their path work. We're not going to hold someone else's path personally, right? While for masculine and feminine energy, the only place I'm seeing here that may be creating a point of frustration is if there's someone asking or articulating and saying, what is it that you want? And someone being like, and if this is that, I got to tell you right now, there could be some conversations right now. If someone's like, what is it that you want? And someone goes, you. Someone's like, that's not a path. That's not a path. That's like that's the energy going, that's not a path. That's a person. like Like that does, like that is not a path. Like that's that modality of saying that when we do that, what we're really saying to someone is like, give me your heart. Where are you going with it? I don't have a single clue. I just want it. And someone being like, what? Like, so we see even now that that's the energy that's like, if you can't articulate what that is, I'm afraid that this is as far as something can go. Like, so we see even now, this is either leading to a healthy separation, or someone being like, they're confused. They're so confused. Like just feeling like the healing is being like, that's a very confused person. Continuing to get clarification on, and even there, like that's frustrating. I can see even now that could be a lot of energy that's like moving from those situations, accepting that something is confusing and being frustrated in the process, but letting that confusion be the closure. Being like, someone's confused. That's my closure. Like, continuing to get clarification between our Seven of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Four of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of, and this is where things get like a little frustrating, especially for some of the energy potentially in separation, because we see even now, if there's energy here that's navigating points of separation within this, there's either one of two different modalities that are occurring. If these are energies that are experiencing and recognizing the fact that they want very different things, that's devastating, right? It's upsetting. It's not that it's not upsetting, but the ability of not taking it personally, the ability of recognizing that that isn't something that is happening because of one, but it's just the nature of a circumstance or situation, then that's that moment that it's like you're navigating the grief, but it's healthy grief. It's a heart opening. It's saying the frustration about a circumstance or situation. Whereas if these are modalities where someone is just articulating the desire for someone, but not giving the clarity as to what that looks like going forward, this is the energy that's feeling the weight or frustration of potentially the juxtaposition of frustration in terms of the desire to build forth with someone, versus someone else saying that their manifestation goal is just the possession of energy, that can often create that modality of frustration and grief, because this is energy that may be moving away from something and articulating and saying that that desire is not to build forth towards, because desire is fickle. Desire is changeable. Desire, the reason it's not commitment is because it can change at any moment. So we see even now that a lot of that energy navigating those spaces and places is potentially moving away from something in the modality of recognizing that while there may be a power in an energetic connection at the moment, the lack of clarity about what could occur going forward is the energy making the healthy but difficult choice in relationality to navigating in a space or place of identifying the nature of an energetic connection. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, a lot of this work that we're seeing that's being navigated coming into divine union right now is holding space. If these are modalities where, again, trust is difficult, trust is scary. If there's masculine and feminine energy here that have articulated not only what it is that they desire with another, the desire they feel, but also what they desire with them. Like, this is that modality of coming into that process of trust. Because what basically happens in that moment is now you're in that space of like, the commitment is one of saying, your dreams become my dreams, right? And so we see even now, like, a lot of that energy is either navigating the enormity of the energetic commitment that they're making and feeling the anxiety of the abandonment wound and saying, is this an energy I can trust? Is this an energy that desires the same things? Is this an energy that's going to allow me to fall? Well, and that's that gift that we see even here, because the ability to articulate on the commitment is that energetic promise. And now is the work of building. You can't just come into a trusting space. The consistency creates the security. So we see even now a lot of that energy is beginning that process. Or a lot of this energy is implementing or recognizing changes that they're making within the divine union frequency. Things that they couldn't even see about themselves were it not for the energy of the counterpart. And in that moment is like, it's devastating, but it's also a breakthrough, right? Like, it's like the recognition being like, oh, but then also like being like, oh, like, because you can change that. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep within the divine union right now, this is holding space for a lot of energetic grief right now. There's just a lot of this work that's like, you know, that heart expanding exercise. It's like, it's working through and navigating and holding space not only for your own difficulties, but also for the energetic burdens of others. And we see even now, like a lot of that work, it's hard. You know, it's hard. It's just hard because a lot of this moment that we're seeing right now in relationality to some of the work we've been experiencing coming into this Mercury retrograde is if you, and this is why I was saying it's so important that you didn't take things personally, is like understanding some of those difficulties that those around you may also be navigating. That's creating a little bit of that space of, again, helping that, like working in that point of energetic restoration, such so that you can help others navigate even as you continue forward on your own pathwork of energetic purpose. Final card for today's spread is we have here our Fool card, which we love to see, a beautiful card that we're closing our reading out with today. Because again, this is actually saying to me, today is a great day for energetic breakthroughs in relationality. If there were any energetic hurdles that you've been experiencing during this retrograde, I would not be surprised if there isn't like a little bit of a breakthrough here. And those breakthroughs are either happening like in here or they're happening externally, right? So just let that kind of empower you right now. Because again, and I think that the best thing to say that needs to come through right now is remember, you know, if you're going through a moment and everything feels dark, I've got some good news for you. There's probably a flashlight in the room, and it probably can be you. So don't get upset if things feel dark. When things are dark, try to be a flashlight, okay? So I think that's a really important message right now. And for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, a lot of this work that we're seeing right now, that is that moment of, again, that feeling of trust fall, that anxiety that's potentially coming through in terms of feeling the anxiety of saying, what if that person changes their mind? What if something goes wrong? What if, like, yeah, there's like a lot of what ifs. Like everything is always what ifs, but our own ability to not let our intention be deviated based upon the what ifs, that is the whole of ourselves, right? Like that space of the what ifs should not move us in the directionality away from ourselves. It should further build into our own sense of who we are. So we see even now that a lot of that energy navigating in that space, it's not just the fact that they're experiencing their own anxieties and fears in relationality to building with a counterpart, but it's almost that sense of identifying and saying that, again, the work that we do in partnership isn't something we do for the sake of another. It's something that reaffirms who we are in the process. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, in separation, this is the energy that's, I feel like a lot of energy right now is either moving on into a new energetic cycle, and either that energetic cycle is one of healthy separation, where it's just energies that articulate and identify how they feel towards one another, but from a point of clarity, and then having that moment of saying, we can hold space for each other, but want different things. And that is a healthy departure point, if you will. Creates just clear karma in the process, right? Because that's not the energy that holds it personally or bears weight in the process of that. There's grief, but it's not personal grief. Or this is energy that if someone is articulating how they feel, but isn't able to articulate what they want with that energetic feeling, this is a lot of energy that's recognizing the difference between someone who energetically wants you versus someone who wants to build with you, right? The wanting is very present. It's very much grounded in the moment or the immediacy of something. Whereas again, the ability of articulating and identifying commitment is the ability of articulating what that future looks like. Manifesting, being able to articulate what that is. So we see even now, if there's energy that's just unloading on one another how they feel, but without clarity as to what that means or what that change is, this is the energy that's like basically saying, you've given me an energetic burden. And this is the energy saying, either you create the pathwork to articulate what that is, or what you're really saying is, this isn't something that you're asking me to move forward with. You're holding it down. You're bringing it forth so that it holds you in place. Like, it's like the difference between an anchor and like a set of wheels, like, and this is a lot of the energy saying, are you giving me an anchor or are you giving me wheels? Is your expression of what you desire, is that creating an anchor to hold down, or is it creating wheels? Bottom of the deck, and that clarification is like what's helping, like, the energy right now come into that moment of kind of like navigating the difference potentially between what one is articulating versus what one desires. Bottom of the deck on the reading right now is 6 of Wands in its reversal. And this is frustrating. I will say, for a lot of the energy in separation right now, there is that frustration point. And I will say, if this is energy, so one modality that I'm seeing here, if this is energy that one is articulating and saying, what do you want? And someone's like, I don't know. This is the energy that may be feeling the doubt or uncertainty in terms of someone saying, I don't know. In not knowing if that's authentically someone who does not know what their pathwork is going forward, or if there's something there where someone does not want to articulate what it is that they desire because they don't feel like someone matches their manifestation goal. Either thing is possible. It's all kind of, and that's why it requires like being in the space of being able to be articulate and brave here. Being in partnership requires bravery, because bravery is the ability to navigate through anxiety or uncertainty by building a sense of trust in the energetic counterpart. And that's what we see is occurring right now for the energy entering into divine union. This is the energy saying, well, what if? Like, a lot of those what ifs coming through. But this is the energy that's now doing the work within the self to navigate those what ifs, built and based upon the recognition point that our own pathwork of intentionality is that focus point of determination in recognizing and identifying like what our will is and how we're making it manifest. That's all we do when we're in partnership. Like, that is our energetic choice. The desire to make the will manifest. Like, that is the energy of partnership. That's that choice you make day after day after day. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within the divine union frequency, a lot of this is the pathwork of energetic purpose. So we see even now that for a lot of the energy in the pathwork of energetic purpose, it's not like, and this is why this retrograde's been like a bit of a banger, is because sometimes you hit those modalities where you're not sure what the heck is happening. But guess what? Purpose is what you do despite what's happening externally around you. Like, that's what purpose is. That is our daily collective energy update. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website, so I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. The list is open. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who joined us in our Emperor class last week. We are going to be continuing forward right now on our classwork. The next class we will be focusing on the Hierophant. That class will be held on Wednesday, September 11th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you would like to become a part of that class program, head over to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack will grant you access and entry into each month's live classes. You will also have access access to all of the course materials and recordings for our previous classes. So if you missed anything, you've got ample opportunity to catch up. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we are learning. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a complimentary mentorship class with me, wherein we will assess where you are in your own personal tarot journey, and I'll give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So thank you if you're already joining us there. And I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next class. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings, services, events. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will give you a full update on my live schedule. You'll also have access to the information related to our giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, we are doing our August giveaway right now. If you would like to enter to win a free private tarot reading with me, head over to the link tree in my bio. There's a 2-minute travel survey there. Filling out that travel survey will grant you an entry into the giveaway, but if you want to increase your chances of winning, go ahead and forward that survey to a friend, because when I pull the winner, I not only give a free reading to the person who won, but I also give one to whoever referred them. So thank you if you've already entered, and I wish you the best of luck in winning this month. Finally, I want to let you guys know about a few different offerings that I now offer on top of my standard life path readings. I now offer mentorship classes. These can be focused on whatever area or course of study that you are interested in learning about. I take a few very limited amount of students for this reason. These can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series. That is 4 45-minute classes, one per week over the span of a month. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to be offering weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, one per week over the span of a month, so that you can stay more consistent on your journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again.